I am speaking into a headset that is also dictating my speech out on Google Docs. So it may sound a little weird because I am saying period or question mark or saying punctuation, FYI, on this recording. But um, this is September 27th, it's a Sunday, it's 7:54 p.m. at night, and I'm doing more regular entries because things have changed a little bit, period. Also, I'll mention that there might not be punctuation in the writing portion of these entries because I just forget and it does not making really sense, period. Anyway, the reason why I'm making this entry is because I am still working on wealthyaffiliate.com, and I jumped on Amazon today because they were flooding my mind today about getting on Amazon. They kept making me pull up the Udemy, Udemy Amazon course, and started irradiating my legs and torturing me. So I jumped on, because I'm just, frustrated and being mind controlled to do it as well. I can tell sometimes and sometimes I can't, period. It's like I'm in the middle of something and they make me do something else, period, or I have no motivation and then they make me do it and I'm just like have all this motivation out of nowhere, period. Overall, I did that today and the same pattern occurred, period. That same pattern was I worked a little bit or I worked, comma, and then they test me, period. They test me by sending me some kind of test to get me angry, period. There were two today, period. It was after I selected my product for the first time, my Amazon product, period, which were cat steps or something like that, period. And they've been pushing me getting and adopting a cat, period. And so I spent, I think, like at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half or more on looking for products in all these other areas, period. But they've been pushing the thought of pet, comma, pet, comma, pet, comma, pet. So I was like, you know what, I bet you I'm going to find a product if I go to the pet category. So after a couple hours, I went to the pet category and lo and behold, guess what, comma, I found a pet product that fit the criteria of the Udemy course, period. And then as soon as I found that product, period, the next thing that happened was, of course, I was looking for my second product because the course asks you to do 3 products using their criteria. And so I started picking the second product, but as soon as I started doing that, comma, I got this text on my phone, and usually it's off, but these days I've been turning it on because I need to keep it on for these jobs, comma. And so I go to the text and it's nothing, but it's usually how this works. You go to something and then it leads to something else and then it leads to something else, and it's very not direct, period. I think that is their MO. It helps for them to keep anonymity and difficult for us as targeted individuals to point out that this is, comma, sort of directed communication to us, period. Because anyone that's reading these entries or hearing my YouTube entries, they're going to think I'm crazy. Hands down, comma, no doubt in my mind, they're going to think this woman is schizophrenic, she has lost her mind, something or other, period, and probably the medical records will back it up somehow because they'll figure out how to make it look like I'm crazy, mentally unstable, comma, doctor medical records saying that I had a history of schizophrenia like my father, this and that, which he did not and I do not, completely healthy in the brain, never have ever been diagnosed ever for mental illness, nor have I taken any kind of medication for it, period. But certainly the way that they communicated with me was one text that led to something else that led to something else. And what that led me to was a new Wi-Fi name on my Wi-Fi network list. For instance, when you connect to your Wi-Fi network, there's everybody else's network around you, comma. Well, the new network name was, quote, the white family's Wi-Fi, unquote. And I got pissed, right? And then I just started saying stuff about how I'm never going to ever put up with this shit, comma, I'm never going to ever not react, simply because I know that they don't want me to react, simply because, for so many reasons. I just went on the spiel, and comma, then I stopped doing the Amazon. I was going to jump on Wealthy Affiliate, and I stopped Wealthy Affiliate, and I closed my laptop, and the rest of the day was quote-unquote ruined, period. Now, this is important. This is the pattern, period. The pattern is you do something, and then they punish you. You do something, and then they punish you. And it goes back and forth, and it is cyclical, and it is right on the money, period. There's never a cessation of this. There is never any kind of it's just always happening, period. And even when I've said dozens and dozens, probably hundreds of times now, that go ahead, test me, comma, and I will fail each time because, comma, if you test me, I'm not some 2-year-old where you test me and then you give me like a little pat in the head and everything's going to be okay, period. I'm trying to check out, trying to figure out a way to get out of this. The only way I can think of to get out of this is to kill myself, and they won't even let me do that, period. So the way I see it is I'm trying to give them what they wanted, right? Question mark? Because in the beginning on Twitter, comma, all the Gangstalking Twitter profiles were tweeting to me, comma, the end result of this program is either you kill yourself or you end up in a mental hospital or you end up arrested and incarcerated, period. There were no other options, period. Okay, so now they're beaming into my head. Yes, comma, there was one other option, which was there were a few people on PAX International, PACTS-INTL International, which is one of the many fake targeted individual group support systems that is run by gang stalkers and the government and the security companies and whatnot, period. They said that gang stalking can stop. It's very rare, but it can happen, period. But the problem is with me is, comma, I'm not going to just sit around while people like these two people in my backyard here at 574 29th Street that moved in, the fat cow, Mexican or Middle Eastern woman, and then the other Oklahoma plates, she's a fat cow too. They all look really terrible. All these people that are gang stalking at the proletariat plebe minion level are grotesque in their appearance. Grotesque. And when I say cow, fat cow, I mean the ugliest looking kind of fat cow. Ugly face, ugly mannerisms, just ugly people, period. And I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm making this point to point out that they look for people that look like the most garish, boorish, disgusting people, period. And they do this because those people need to stand out. It's more of a practical, aesthetic kind of a thing, period. So anyways, I was just, after that text came through that led me to the network for some reason, I can't remember how, but it always gets me to where they want me to go. And the reason why that would piss me off, the white family thing, the white family Wi-Fi, which is what the Wi-Fi name was, and it's a brand new one, comma, is because I've been raging on white people. Completely justified, by the way, comma, but raging on white people, period. How they're racist. It's true. The vast majority of them are. And in a really weird, creepy, controlling, patronizing, um, sometimes cruel, sometimes pure, really 100% racist, right to your face what they say. My entire life, since basically I could talk and understand, kindergarten essentially. And it's been like that my whole life. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just explaining that's been my personal experience. So of course I'm going to imbibe just a lifetime of this kind of weird, creepy, and I really want to point out that word, creepy as fucking fuck, superiority complex, gross. Sometimes it would come off as like you're gross because you're Asian, or you're constantly called chink in Texas, and passive aggressive racism. It's just constant by white people. And I started, after a lifetime of that, and you grow up, you start noticing it, and then you go, comma, well, there's something wrong with these people. They're not very nice, period. And then that graduates into, comma, well, these people are fucking racist, period. And then that graduates into, these people are gross and disgusting, and they think they're better, and they're not, period. And you get the transition here. You get the how it goes from up the steps, and nothing from what you're doing. The entire time this is happening, I'm 43. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to think, positive. But it's just a natural thing that emanates off of these people, and decades of go home, chink, go back to China, blah 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 blah, period. Just really awful as a culture, these people. There are few exceptions to the rule. I can think of only one at the moment, actually two, and I'm sure there's many more exceptions to that rule who are truly just good, liberal, you dumb fucking pieces of shit. Liberal because these people are conservative. They're conservative, they're pro-life. They are racist fucking psychos, I'm telling you, period. But there's only two that I can think of. So all of this, and I've been, I always had this sneaking suspicion there's something wrong with these people. And like how they're always like competitive and jealous and trying to prove themselves, and just intensely weird. I could give you so many examples about it that I never understood until now. Until the gangstalking started, all the pieces are coming together as to what the fuck is actually wrong with these people. And now it finally makes sense, period. My thoughts were always just like confused and not understanding, and it was reactive because of decades of racism and patronizing and gang stalking, trauma after trauma after trauma. So that's where my reactions come from. But these people, they're just inherently hateful people. And well, maybe maybe you're not born inherently that way, but it's just taught to them by their parents, obviously, period. And it's just passed on generation after generation. It's just they imbibe it, it goes into their genes, and it's passed on to their kids. And hence I think they are lower, less evolved, more hateful, more prone to being more racist, prone to being hateful and divisive and controlling and psychopathic, period. And there is absolute 100% proof now that trauma and anxieties and all of that can be passed on. So psychopathy, narcissism, hate, racism, all those bad feelings, they're passing it on generation after generation after generation, and they're marrying psychopaths and malignant narcissists and sociopaths. And you don't think there's something wrong with these people? They are de-evolving. This group is a de-evolved group. Not even trying to be an asshole right now. It makes perfect fucking sense. Period. Anyways, so that's what happened, and I got pissed. I didn't scream and shout as much as I did, but that's because there's a lot of reasons why I didn't. But I'm going to just try to go back to that, and that's what this entry is about, period. I had that moment, and then, I have this swamp cooler here that I purchased, and it's 90 degrees today, and I read that you have to open the doors and the windows for the swamp cooler to work properly, and I do that, and I'm reminded that these two fat fucking cows that moved in here below me and 570, I'm going to go get a picture of the license plate and record that as well. And then the fat cow over there next to us in the complex across, but we all share, they're right next to us. And she's an older white woman from Oklahoma, and she has Oklahoma Gangstalking plates, the personalized license plates, the black and yellow plates, the personalized out-of-state plates, the plates that are paper dealer plates that flap in the wind, the plates that are numeric plates only, or black and yellow with personalized plates, or dented plates, or plates that have like a plastic covering over them, plates that have the DGDGB happy frame, or plates that have only a black, very noticeable black frame. They're all around me within like a 10-minute errand. There's hundreds of them around me in a 10-minute. If you saw one of those here and another one like down the street, maybe, and then you saw one maybe, a yellow and black plate, but there are hundreds of them surrounding me when I go out. And they're not in my head. I put them on my Facebook profile, hundreds of photos on my Facebook profile, writekpark@gmail.com. So this is not in my head. And of course, if any layperson were to listen to this recording or read this and go look for those plates, they would be gone, completely disappeared. But they exist, and these losers exist. And they can hack into anything. They have classified technology that can do quite a few things, like read your mind, read your thoughts, make you do things. So all of this to say, the whole point of this was that it's a cyclical process where you're happy and then they fuck you over. You're happy and then they fuck you over. And they always try, and they used to do this, and it used to work, but now I've been onto them for some time now, period. What they are doing is trying to blame you, make you feel bad for reacting a certain way or saying something. And then they just want you to feel bad and guilty all the time. They try to blame horrible things that happened in my past on me when it was them that sabotaged me, period. And if you do react, which I'm almost positive they make you react, they cause you to get pissed and all that stuff, then they can punish you. So then they can torture you, and then they can give you bad dreams, which they can do. They can control your dreams. I've had multiple spiders and bugs and rodents and what have you running through my apartment right at a specific time when I'm near them or can see them. It's timed perfectly, period. I have it's just so that they can punish you, period. So they don't really want me to wait, period. Important. Semicolon. They don't really want you to succeed, period. They don't really want me to succeed, period. This is their last con, period. They don't want me to succeed, period. They couldn't get me to answer emails for job offers since I had it about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Yeah, period. And so they had to rethink what they're going to do to fuck with me, period. And so they started sending me the Amazon stuff. I think the first Amazon invitation was June to go to that, Singapore Online Summit thing, period. And I ignored that because of the signs. And then they sent me the Amazon Accelerate, period. And then they sent me the Wealthy Affiliate through another company called AWAI, AWAI. I have, period. Actually, that didn't come out right on the dictation here on Google Docs, so let me say that again, period. They sent dozens of emails titled capital A WAI, period. It turned out when I opened that email that it was a scam, but somehow that led me to wealthy affiliate, period. Like I said before, they send you items that lead you to where they really want you to go, but there's no connection, period. So I can't remember exactly how it was done, but I went to all those emails, opened them up, and clicked on that, and then it opened up another page, and I was doing some research on AWAI, comma, and it was saying AWAI is a scam, don't go with them, but if you want to go with a company that is real in terms of starting an online business, go to wealthy affiliate, period. That's basically how it went, period. And so then there's really no connection between how wealthy affiliate got to me and how I found them, period, if that makes sense, period. Anyway, it's a cycle. It's very important that I remember, very important that I remember that this is a con. They do not want to help me, comma. And here's the most important part. If this was toning down in terms of gang stalking, comma, if this was really getting better, comma, then fat cow number one next door, with white hair and just a body that is so disgusting, her face is disgusting, she's got an SUV with black wheels and the Oklahoma personalized license plate with a shiny chrome frame. And if she wasn't there, and this other fat cow number two, Middle Eastern or Mexican, I don't know which one she is, probably Mexican because there's a lot of Mexicans that work for these, the minions. They're easy to sway, man. The dumb people are easy to sway. No moral compass whatsoever, period. She moved in just like 2 weeks ago because Robin Salisbury, Saulsbury, directly below me in 570 29th Street, said he's moving out, period. He's moving out because I got a gun, and I don't know, maybe he's scared, or maybe he doesn't want to put up with that, or maybe it was just planned ahead of time, but he's moving out, period. And guess who moves in? We've got disgusting gang stalking old lady number one and disgusting fat cow gang stalking number two below me. And that is not something that is indicative of things getting better. That is indicative of permanence, period. Of permanence, period. And that is a huge red flag and evidence in my view, period. I'm not a typical superstitious numbnut like most people, and I hope not a lot of TIs. I hope TIs are smarter than this. I have to believe that they are because they're targeted, period. But yeah, the people that moved in are making more noise. She's constantly slamming her door. I just went out to the doorway, and guess what? She walked out of her door and was talking on the phone on speakerphone, which is it's a gang stalking tactic. If you were to go out and go to the supermarket or to the gas station, anywhere, dry clean, just name a place, people would all of a sudden be around you with talking on their phones really loud while on their speakerphone, who look really boorish. They're never going to look classy. Very rarely do they look classy. There was some classy people that got in my Lyft car and gang stalking me, but that was Lyft. That's a totally different thing. It's a completely different thing, period. But these people, the neighbors, they're disgusting, period. So that's evidence number one. Evidence number two, which is, I figured this out for a while, 2 months ago, the cyclical thing. You're doing something good, and then they sabotage you, provoke your emotion so that you react, and then after that blame you and then torture you, period. This is a cycle to elongate my torture before they kill me or before I kill myself, period. Done, period. End of story, period. I figured it out. I figured them out, period. And the only problem is I can't do anything about it because the technology is like invisible chains, period. So for the layperson who reads something like that, they would go, oh my gosh, this woman is capital NUTS, period. But one day it'll come out, sort of like how MK Ultra came out, that the government was experimenting on civilians against their consent, against their knowledge, was doing horrific things to them, and you don't even know half of it. You don't even know half of it. Period. Operation 731 question mark in Japan, that's the kind of stuff that Americans are doing and have done here too. Period. You think that Operation Paperclip happened where the United States government brought over Nazi scientists and gave them clemency, or whatever you want to give them, whatever the right word is. I forget the right technical word. I forget words these days because they make me stupid. But Operation Paperclip, bringing over Nazi scientists, you think that the government is not doing what I'm saying they're doing to me? Question mark? Not even close. So those are the two things. The two fat cows outside, the constant noise campaign, the what do you call it? Cyclical nature of do well and then they sabotage you, do well and then they sabotage you, period. So not for a second do I believe that I'm going to have a successful Amazon business or that wealthy affiliate is going to pan out, period. Give me a break, period. No way, period. Because, and here's the reason why, ... If they wanted me to react a certain way, I'd be reacting that certain way, period. Let me say that again because it's important, comma. If they wanted me to react a certain way, then I'd be reacting capital THAT, capital WAY, period. The technology can make you do whatever they want you to do, and it's very subtle sometimes, comma, in fact most times, period. It can make you do things and you don't even know that it's making you do things, period. Frankly, I could be doing this recording this in this very moment here, doing exactly what they want, and everything I've done is exactly what they want, and that wouldn't surprise me, period. I often say this is what I want, or maybe this is what you guys want. Either way, it's happening, period. Something to that effect I usually say out loud, period, because you don't know if they're mind controlling you to end up at the specific place or not, period. And based on what I've seen, what they can do, they can definitely control you to do things, and you have no idea that they're doing it. So my point is, if I'm reacting this way and I'm, they test me and then I react, and each time it's not sometimes, see, comma, it's like it's right on the nose, right? Timing, you do something and then they sabotage you. You do something and then they sabotage you. And it's very, very, it's a tight cycle. It's not like a month and then it happens and then another 2 weeks goes by and it happens. No, it's weekly. You do something and then they punish you. Then they make you do something, as in like work on something productive. Then they send you a trap and then make you react, and then they punish you. It's a complete and utter con, period. So I just wanted to put that down, even though it sounds like a mess what I'm seeing getting dictated here on Google Docs, but I have it in 2 places and that's good enough, and I need to remember how important this point is, period. So I wrote out a little sign from an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with red Sharpie that says I'm not going to do Amazon and I'm not going to do wealthy affiliate, because the way I see it, it doesn't matter. What I think it is busy work because they don't want me just laying around watching TV. And I just needed to get it down on video. Sorry, not on video, but I mean technically it is video because YouTube won't let you upload anything that's not a video. Or just audio, period, and here on Google Docs, so that I can remind myself about this thought process, period. And I have to do this because they erase your memory, period. They erase why you wanted to do something, how you wanted to do something, if you were against something, for something. Eventually it disappears. And so there it is. They are not helping you, Catherine. They are torturing you and prolonging the torture, and that's why they're dropping $300 a week into your employment development EDD Bank of America account. I got this month I got 900 plus four $300 payments, um, which is $2,100, and they're giving me $300 every week for another 13 weeks, which is on my text message, but that's kind of what they do, 13 popping up everywhere, that stupid number. They're so weird. They're very much about astrology, constantly sending me stuff on Twitter about how there's a new moon and how Aquarius, the age of the Aquarius is coming in, and how in November or December you're going to have to decide if you're going to be with the people of light or the dark, or what else do they put on Twitter? These fucking loser freaks, they say that sometimes it takes 10 to 15 years for people to get awakened, which they're talking about me, right? Question mark. Just so you get that, they're talking about me. When they make these comments, I'm the only one that's seeing these comments. There's nobody else. I'm being shadow banned, and these profiles are bots. Probably some of them are real gang stalkers, but they say stuff like that you're gonna die. They give me death threats all the time. They say that the world is going to change and become very loving, and God is coming back, and there's going to be 1,000 years of peace, and they're just out of their fucking mind. And the funniest thing I find, and ironic and tragic and sad and depressing all at once, is that these people constantly talk about Christ consciousness, something that they say a lot, which basically means you're more evolved and you're vibrating at a higher level, or they say how you need to meditate and get in touch with yourself, or they say be positive, be loving. All these, things that normal people are to some extent, not these maggots who are killing and torturing and a part of something so heinous and disgusting, period. They say these things, and yet they are literally like cockroaches as people, period. And I think they're trolling, but I also think that some of them actually think they're good people for some reason, period. It's probably the most deluded group of people I have ever come to know, period. And it's not just because I'm saying so, it's because I've had interactions with them interpersonally where, and this is just something that I'm good at, where I have them stop dead in their tracks because of something that I've said, a point that I've made that makes them speechless just for a second. Some of them longer, some of them less longer. And it happened with that loser Erwin that impregnated his coworker because he couldn't impregnate his wife. His wife wouldn't let him have a kid by him because she probably knew that he was a psychotic loser, period. But I said something to him about his managing style, and I was really specific. He asked for it. I wouldn't have given to him if he didn't ask for it. And I remember, I'm so tired right now, but I remember I said something, and then and he literally, I think, had his mouth open and was like, oh, not mouth open angry or confused, or he was like, oh, he didn't realize that, oh, that was that mouth open, and the reply was the same, period. Same thing happened with another man at Broadly, the company here in Oakland where I worked, and I've told this person, Matt, M-A-T-T, that I didn't want to do something multiple times. And it's not even like, it was so unprofessional. Like a normal professional wouldn't make you do something if you didn't want to do it. And at the end of the whole shebang, I told him, I told you I didn't want to do it, just like that, with my voice raised, looked him dead in the eye, and he looked at me again with that same look that I happen to get out of everyone. My entire life, I get that look out of everyone. Is it a gift? Is it a curse? I think it's a little bit of both. Anyway, he looked at me like dumbfounded, mouth partially open, and kind of like, I guess she did, didn't she? And the thing is that's the kind of response that I get from people, because they're not thinking properly. So anyways, period. I don't know. I was just kind of trying to see where I left off, but I kind of digressed and I scrolled up to Google. docs to see where I left up. I was just kind of just saying interpersonally that I have this knack of making people think twice about themselves and their delusion. Oh yeah, that was it, period. And it's not just in my head, you know, I've had people say, I've never really heard that point put that way, or now that you put it this way, or it just, that kind of stuff has always happened throughout my life. And it probably would happened a lot more if I wasn't surrounded by gang stalkers. But the fact that it's happening with gang stalkers is something else. Period. And more important than that, the fact that it's pissing off gang stalkers says everything about these people. Period. Like, for me, when I'm wrong, it would annoy me, sure, and it would sting, but I would admit it and be like, what? Okay, I guess I was wrong, this and that. But these people, you can sense it, I can feel it, and you can also see it in their body language, their facial expressions, their tone. They get infuriated for the littlest, weirdest things that, like, I'm getting angry for getting tortured, or people being purposely rude to me, or yelling at me, or saying something misogynistic or bullyish, or saying fuck, like that stuff. The way they do it over time, over years, over decades, constantly doing it to me, like death of a thousand cuts, that is understandable when you have a reaction, period. But these people who are so evolved and so emotionally mature, and they're not reactive, and they're stoic and all this stuff, their mask slips, and when it slips, it doesn't slip like I don't have a mask. My mask is, dude, you say something rude to me, you're an asshole, right? That's not a narcissistic trait. A narcissist, when their masks slip, it's a specific thing, period. And now that I do believe there's something to energy in this world, I would feel this weird, it's hard to describe, rage. It's almost like this self-righteous, how dare you say that topic or point in my presence. It's weird, period. And it only comes from malignant narcissists, period. And they cannot help it. It comes out no matter what, period. No matter what they do, no matter how much they meditate, no matter how much they tell themselves that they are more evolved, or they're stoic, or how they have their emotions under control and their minds under control, ... They absolutely fucking do not. And empaths like me, really sensitive people, are the only ones that catch it and go, whoa, there it is, period. Because in essence, since they are narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths, they are not able to read that in another person. They can only read like certain things, but they can't read the full spectrum like we can, and in such a way that we can. So to them, in a way that we might sound crazy to them, like, yeah, right, she's bullshit, she's like rambling on about this thing that she can't even do, it's all in her head, period. But if they don't have emotions like regular people like me, it kind of makes sense that they wouldn't be able to read those emotions in someone else, right? Question mark. It's common sense, period. Anyways, again, important, the two fat cows that moved in next door, they are an indication that the gang stalking is escalating and not going away, though the torture has gone down, meaning the sleep deprivation, other things, like they used to sexually harass me, sexually rape me, sexually make me try to orgasm using their technology, made me think of this, oh god, this loser Marco Lopez is the only way he can get laid. Made me think about him sexually. He's such a loser. God, just thinking about him makes me want to vomit. What else did they do? They just did a lot of horrible things, like made my ceiling fall down in the bathroom. They make me burn myself. They constant noise campaign day and night. That's all stopped. Not stopped, but it's gone down, but that to me is not as a big deal as two fat cows with both of their gang stalking cars moving in. Because Robin, oh god, I get them mixed up. Robin Salisbury, as he's a gang stalker too, but he was subtle and he was a little bit more refined. and he's leaving, and in comes the fat cow. So to me, that is an escalation. That is not a de-escalation. That's an escalation, and it's a factor that is big. When you're surrounded by boorish, garish people, that means that it's getting worse and not getting better. So, as funny as it sounds, you start to understand what's better and what's worse. Period. And then, of course, the cycle of reward, what looks like a reward, like they're trying to help you, but then they sabotage you. Period. I've detected that. It's completely obvious now. Period. And so the question is, what are they trying to do? Well, they're trying to bide my time. They're trying to stall. The other day on Twitter, they said something like, "Oh, if you die too early, you won't be able to get tortured as much." Or I don't think it was that necessarily. It was, if you die, then you won't be able to suffer. You're gone, so we can't do this to you, or some kind of veiled threat in that manner. Period. So that's what I think it is. It's just, they don't want, it's not even been a year, and probably for them, they torture people for years and years and years. And they don't want that. They're sadistic people with no moral compass, no redeeming qualities, so this is what they want. And I just want to write it down before I forget, think of something else. It's important. And I'll be doing this a lot more. And I wish I did this from the beginning, because I would have a lot more evidence besides the license plates, period. But I have Nicholas Gillig's text message to me telling me that I should kill myself after I said "you're weird," period. So I basically answered an ad on Craigslist for something that Nicholas Gillig was selling. I didn't know that was his name anyway in the beginning, comma. And then he acted weird about selling it to me, and I realized he was a gang stalker. But I didn't. The only exchange that happened was he was selling it, and I said okay, and then he said something I can't quite remember, and I said, "Okay, you're weird," period. And then he wrote back, "Kill yourself. I don't give a fuck." So essentially that's evidence right there. And so I looked him up. I looked his phone number up on CollarSmart, and then found his photo and photo of his really disgusting family. Period. The only thing with this kind of a situation is he could be fake. Period. He could be a fake person, a fake family. All of it could be digitally fake, which is something that they can do. Period. They can digitally make anybody. Television shows, fake wars, fake everything. It's all possible now with the technology that they have. And so he might be a fake person, but I do have that proof where it was with a total stranger, and it was for an item, and then he came out of nowhere and said, "Fine, go kill yourself. I don't give a fuck." Essentially telling me that he knew who I was, because I'm always surrounded by gang stalkers. There's never a person that we come in contact with right now as targeted individuals, especially right now, that are not gang stalkers. Period. Everyone, every single person. And that's about it for now. I will be back.